And here we go with the start. Unfortunately, it looks like we have a knock on. Actually, it looks like the ball went out into touch, so we'll have a line out. Interestingly enough, we don't have a three-man. That's interesting. Weber State does not put in a three-man line out. I've never seen that before. Usually we'll have three men in the line out. First time I've seen two. And Weber State, unfortunately, docked with a forward pass. So early turnover for Louisiana Tech. And now we will have a scrum. Again, this is game three for both teams. So a long day of action. Both teams seem to have faced against some pretty formidable opponents. So a lot of tired bodies, but we play on. Again, one team possibly can get their first win of the day. We'll see. And we got the scrum down for Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech, unfortunately, the ball does knock out. We do get a penalty against Louisiana Tech. Scrumming, of course, a very, very hard and high level skill set. And unfortunately, Louisiana Tech not able to scrum correctly, so Weber State gets the ball. Weber State on the attack, trying to find an opening. I believe that ball might have went forward, and it did. So we'll have another scrum to Louisiana Tech. And Louisiana Tech a little bit sloppy on the scrum, but they're able to get the ball. Trying to get their way out of their territory, though. Weber State with some pretty solid defense. And a jackal, but unfortunately they were offsides, so penalty to Louisiana Tech. Good tackle by Weber State. Louisiana Tech still trying to march on with the ball. Again, another penalty against Weber State, not rolling away after the tackle. Weber State's got to watch out. They've already gotten quite a few penalties called against them. If too many penalties consistently are given to a side, the match official may end up giving a yellow card. We like to continue play fairly, so if there's too many mistakes, sometimes that will cost you. And it looks like we have a knock on. So a fortunate Ben for fortunate Ben again for Louisiana State. They continue to have the ball with the knock on. So they'll have the scrum. Passing back to Louisiana State. Good little passage play there. Oh, fortunately, the Weber State player in the pathway of the ball, so he knocks it on. He's very fortunate that the match official did not consider that a sinister knockdown. It's all right. You don't want to knock the ball forward, but you can't knock the ball purposely down to the ground. Like if a pass was being thrown, you can't intercept the pass by tossing it to the floor. That is cynical and you can get a yellow card. So that Weber player, fortunate not to be called with the yellow card. Louisiana Tech with the put in for the scrum. And Louisiana Tech on the attack, but they're going backwards. Weber State, really good defense, keeping Louisiana Tech in their territory for pretty much the good half of this half. And Weber State finally gets a penalty going their way. Louisiana Tech holding onto the ball, but does not quick tap at the point of the penalty. If you want a quick play, you got to do it at the point of the penalty. And now it looks like maybe when the Weber State player quick tapped it, he actually knocked it forward. So, wow, big mistake by Weber State. They had the ball, and then when they tried to they were a little too eager, they accidentally knocked the ball on. So, Louisiana Tech with the ball again. We're approaching the last 2 minutes of the half. Again, another sloppy scrum by Louisiana Tech, but they're very fortunate to keep the ball, trying to move forward. But again, Weber State has not let the ball go past the Louisiana Tech territory. Penalty against Weber State, high tackle. Yeah, this is probably the smartest move. Louisiana Tech kicking the ball down into touch. If the ball goes into touch, and it does, that way at least there's some security out of their territory, or at least relieving some pressure out of their territory. And Weber State with the line out, tossing it. Weber State with the ball. Can Weber State make a try score here? Louisiana Tech with a little bit of a high tackle. There's a good offload. Weber State making their way, cutting back in towards the try zone, towards the uprights. Weber State so close. Louisiana Tech, really strong defense right now. Trying to get the ball out of the hands of Weber State. Weber State making their way forward, and they get the try. First try scored. Weber State, the Wildcats, with the try to finally put some points on the scoreboard, 5-0, as we're approaching the last minute of the half. It's been a long half, neither side able to really do too much, and the conversion is no good, but at least Weber State is on the board with a score 5-0. And again, I apologize, rugby fans, for the lack of a scoreboard. Technical difficulties have knocked our scoreboard out of commission, but I will try to keep you up to date as much as possible, let you know what the score is. Right now, Weber State up 5-0 over Louisiana Tech. And we got passage of play here. Louisiana Tech with the ball. Penalty against Louisiana Tech. Weber State. The Wildcats get the ball. Scrum is called by Weber State. I believe when they had the penalty, they tried to quick tap it, but again, you have to quick tap the ball at the point of the penalty. Was not happen. Louisiana Tech with the put in for the scrum. Louisiana Tech with the ball. Good little offload there. Louisiana Tech trying to get on the scoreboard before the end of the half, but the ball's turned over. Weber State with it. Here comes the Wildcats. Wildcats moving forward. There is nobody there. Weber State with the try. Beautiful quick play by Weber State, capitalizing on the turnover. And I believe that will be the last play of the half. And the kick is good. The kick is good. As we go into halftime, score is Weber State 12, Louisiana Tech 0. We'll be coming back with more action in the second half. Don't go anywhere. All right, rugby fans, back to field two, second half. Louisiana Tech taking on Weber State. Score right now, Weber State 12, Louisiana Tech 0. My apologies again for their scoreboard not being available, but we do the best that we can. This is Pool B action in our open division. Both teams looking for their first win of the day. And Louisiana Tech with the ball. Unfortunately, there was a knock on called. So we have a scrum to Weber State. As I mentioned again, Weber State representing the High Peaks Conference, both in Division 2 and Division 3. While Louisiana Tech from the Deep South Conference. So we have a interconference competition. The Bulldogs taking on the Wildcats. Weber State are the Wildcats, Louisiana Tech the Bulldogs. Weber State with the quick put in for the scrum. Weber State on the attack. Louisiana Tech trying to stop them. Pass goes out of the hand of one Weber State player, but into the hands of the other one. Fortunate for them. Weber State trying their best to make their way past this stifling Louisiana Tech defense. Louisiana Tech has to gang tackle against Weber State, but unfortunately they're called for a high tackle. Any tackle that's above the shoulder is considered illegal and dangerous. Weber State trying to pass the ball, doesn't go in the hand. Again, a lot of tired bodies here. Game 3 of day 1 for both teams. And Louisiana Tech able to push the player out into touch. As we like to say, that touch line is the defender that never misses. So you want to use that to your advantage. Louisiana Tech with the line out throw in. Again, this is a very high skilled piece as well. Lots of practice has to go into it. For most rugby sevens teams, this is not necessarily something they like to practice as much as 15s. So it isn't always working as well as they did, and that's why Weber State was able to take the ball away. The Wildcats trying to figure out a way to continue loading up on the scoreboard. Again, even though both teams are not going to finish first and second, in the open division, the best two third place teams could make their way into the playoffs. So whoever wins this game has a possibility of making it into the playoffs. It's going to come down to point differential and points scored. So more points that are scored, the better. And the more that you prevent your other team from scoring on you helps a lot. So right now, Weber State looking good with 12 unanswered points. And it looks like they might get another one right here. And they do. Try by Weber State. 17-0 with kick to come. Oh, and the kick is good. That's amazing. It not only hit the crossbar, but it went over. Hitting that crossbar alone is a pretty big skill set. Very, very hard to do, especially with a drop kick goal. I think people misunderstand how hard it is. Not only to kick the ball off of a tee, like you see in regular American football, but in sevens, it's a drop kick goal. You need to drop the ball from hand and be able to kick it. That is such a hard skill to do, to be that accurate. And then to hit the crossbar, that is impressive. And it goes over. So kudos to that gentleman there for Weber State. Very impressive. Weber State up 19-0. Louisiana Tech got to figure out some way not only to score, but they have to keep the ball in hand first of all. And right now they have it. Will they be able to score with it? Weber State is on them. Weber State, like I said, if they do make it as a third place team, they got to try to make sure they have enough points and don't prevent Louisiana Tech from scoring enough points to make it as one of the two better third place teams. Penalty against Weber State for a high tackle. So Weber State has to stay on their A game even if they get a win. Just winning barely won't be enough. They got to win by a lot. And Louisiana Tech cycling the ball back, kicking the ball downfield into touch. I think that went directly on a touch. It did. I think that kick, while it might have been a pretty interesting play call, was unfortunately done incorrectly. as they kicked it directly out into touch. That's a penalty. So Weber State with the ball, and they're playing with it, and they're back into Louisiana Tech territory. Good offloads by Weber State. They are all over. They are scrambling all over the field. Louisiana Tech trying their best to back up for the defense. And we're going back for advantage penalty against Louisiana Tech. I believe offsides. Here we go. That man with the ball, number 10, scored prior to, and he's going to score again. And he does. He gets himself a brace, a second try. And he's going to make the conversion kick, and he's made this kick much, much easier for himself, though it was impressive the last conversion kick he did. But this one right under the uprights. So, barring a commentator's curse, he makes it, and he does. So, score Weber State 26, Louisiana Tech 0. Louisiana Tech just falling so far behind now as we're closing in on the last 2 minutes of the half. All right, here we go. With the restart by Weber State, does it go 10? Yes, it does. It bounces. Louisiana Tech will take it. And we'll see what the Bulldogs can do. They are just trying to score some points, make it look respectable, and it looks like they might get it here. They're breaking away. They kicked the ball down. Was there a little too much oomph on it? No, there's enough. I think he got it down. Did he? We'll see what the match official says, but it looks like he might have been able to get it in the try zone. And I think he did. I want to say he did. Yes, he did. Try by Louisiana Tech. Great, great try. Conversion unfortunately short, but Louisiana Tech at least gets on the board. And I believe that might be full time. Yes, I believe that is full time. And there we go, rugby fans. That's your score. Final score: Weber State 26, Louisiana Tech 5.